Jay, fact or fiction? The manufacturer is providing more value to distributors in the collective relationship today than historic partnerships 5 years ago.
Fact.
Fact, really? Explain that one.
So you could argue at both sides of the fence, but from our perspective, manufacturers are providing more value than they had before in the past. They're carrying inventory, they're carrying terms, they're doing the heavy lifting in the end market demand, which is called end market pull-through, right? I can probably list out a half a dozen more, but I'm sure most of our clients understand that the value that they're providing is disproportionate to what value they provided maybe 5, even 10 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. So how does a distributor go about rebalancing the value that they might be providing back to some of their key supplier partners?
Well, I think it's rebalancing what they bring to the table, right? And the value that they bring back to the manufacturer without sacrificing the value they bring to their end customer.
Yeah.
Right? Because they are the front line. So you don't want to sacrifice one for the other, but that value needs to be reset back to the manufacturer and what they can bring back. What can distributors bring back to the table?
Yeah.
What can they bring back to the manufacturer? Well, they can bring back direct field experience. That's number one. Deep understanding of the end market. Unbiased, deep understanding of the end market. And that's critical there. I want to say the word unbiased because that's imperative here.
Yeah. 2
is data, right? Beyond POS data, beyond, company XYZ bought something on Tuesday and it was $100 at the zip code. Great.
Yeah.
Love to know that. Behavior. Why? How? What motivated that buyer to behave that way at that time? Was it the innovation? Was it the availability? What was it specifically? And we see examples of this all the time, and I can give some and share some as well. So I think those are 2 easy ones that you can grasp onto in Q4 of this year, right? Or even shortly thereafter and say, okay, how can I bring value back to the manufacturer in a meaningful way?
Yeah, that's great, Jay. And I would say, we've heard also the opposing view, which would be, how can manufacturers bring more value to the distributor relationship outside of just, margin gain or rebates and whatnot. Right. And I think one thing that rises to the top of what we've seen be very effective nowadays is trying to help distributors scale their level of technical competence to their end customer. Mm-hmm. And manufacturers, the progressive ones, are developing really insightful tools to where they can take a highly technical product or solution, provide the training and even the tools, engagement tools to a distributor, and help that distributor get that message out to their broader end customer base. So let's just say there's self-assessment tools, or configure price quote type tools, or videos on training that go through product demonstrations. All of these things are great tools for a distributor to deploy, but they're also very relevant to where a distributor's end customer is today, which is trying to self-serve or self-educate themselves through that buying journey process. So the more manufacturers can support distributors with scaling that technical knowledge, I think that's something that manufacturers can bring to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a big one. Technology, it's the buzzword, but it really is a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just a buzzword. It's not just a, here today, gone tomorrow type of issue. It's going to be here for a while until you really attack it head on. And I think that's spot on there. The other one that we hear, James, maybe you can speak to this one too, is innovation.
Yeah.
Right? And that's another big one that we hear is manufacturers can bring innovation together jointly with the distributor to the market.
Yeah.
So that's speak to that for a minute.
Yeah, innovation's a big topic, right? But I would ground innovation on what is the end customer actually in search of. Today the end customer, you want to look across improving their overall customer experience. And how do you do that as a manufacturer? It's pretty limited versus how you do it as a manufacturer or a distributor, it's still pretty limited. But if you're able to bring both resources of a manufacturer and a distributor together, you can look across the whole life cycle of that customer or buyer journey of that customer. So help that customer understand what product they could use and benefit from, But where the distributor could come in is helping to support that product, helping to make that product easy to get, easy to service, easy to upkeep. And that's a way of both manufacturers and distributors to work better together into that full customer journey.
So let's net it out. If I heard everything correctly, we got the customer at the center of this. You got the distributor who can bring back deep customer knowledge and data. You got the manufacturer who can bring innovation and technology, right? And with bringing that, you can reset the relationship, reset the value that each are bringing to that end user in the middle.
Yeah.
And then ultimately both gain and have an equal or more balanced risk-reward relationship.
Yeah, and you're creating longer, more defensible relationships with your end customer, both as a distributor and the manufacturer.
Sounds like that's moat building to me.
Moat building, yes.
Exactly.
Make that business sticky to you as the distributor and manufacturer.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Perfect.